when they died. Many of them died at a very, very early age. We found many of the grave sites that even have their names on it. They were marked as unknown. And what our healers are saying is that if we just make that ceremony available to those little ones so that they can get a faith about Creator, is that they can go home. So that also means that we can also have those other ceremonies that Christians, they can make that ceremony available so our little spirits, they have a choice about faith so they can cross over to the other side. That was another teaching that we learned, but there's been several teachings that, but I think most prevalently what occurred to us on this journey is that we just need to go back to loving each other. My grandmother, she was in that boarding school. She did not pass on love to my mother. My mother just didn't know how to love me. And I told myself I was not going to be like my mom. And then, like many of us that we heard across the country, we grew up to be exactly like our parents. And then we pass it on through one more generation. This day is really about coming not to an end of this journey, but a beginning to pass on this information that we can break the cycle, that we have our culture, we have our ceremonies, we have the songs, and we do have the understanding of this principle of forgiveness. Is that if we forgive, is that we're going to get free. And I think it's our responsibility to get that message out to all throughout Indian country that we do that. So thank you. Thank you for being Bewitched.
There was a time when we were told we could not get into Carlisle. Carlisle is now a war college. That's what it is today. Originally they told us there's no buildings left. The cemetery is very, very small, but thanks to one of our Native sisters who's married to a man that is assigned to that base, NCO, that knows the ropes, they changed our ability to go to Carlisle. And what we found out there was the boys' dorm is still there, the jail is there, but they locked those little kids up. And it was really hard going in there. You could feel that abandonment, you could feel like the loneliness. It was just really, I couldn't stay in it. I lost my breath. I had to get out of there. It's like something was in there. The church that the kids built, the foundation, it is still there. And we went to the graveyard. Originally they told us when these 6 would go there, but we all went in the graveyard. And when you look down the road and you see 8 of these stones in a row and they all say unknown. How could you put a child in a grave and on a tombstone write unknown? How does that happen, to us? So along the way, you could feel when we were doing the ceremony at the Carlisle, you could feel all those little kids around us. Feel all those little spirits, they were standing around us. To a Native group, you could talk this way. To some groups, you wouldn't say this, they think you were crazy, but we know how those worlds are. We know that how they work. And when they told us, they said, because we were all crying, they said that those ancestors were also there. They were pulling their tears out, helping us do this, helping us to get this healing. So I believe what the elders told us about this movement, this forgiveness that we are starting, it is an idea whose time has come. A few years ago, there was something called the Civil Rights Movement. And the Civil Rights Movement was another idea whose time had come. Because it was so out of balance, it was so wrong, so much injustice, the elders tell us what will happen is the natural laws will wake up and they'll come forth. And once the natural laws are going to put it back in balance, the governor can't stop it, the military can't stop it, President of the United States can't stop it, can't be stopped, because the balance is coming from the spiritual world. So what they told us, they said, this is ours now, this movement, this is our idea, this time has come. The assault was so great on our communities, by 1920, 99% of the native population have been wiped out. 99 have been wiped out, 1% lived. All of us here remember how the eagles almost went extinct? They were put on the endangered list. The eagles almost got wiped out. All of us here are the rebirth out of a very small group of people. And now our population numbers, you see, are growing. But we've been tested. The land taken away, the beatings, the kids taken away. Many, many injustice. And what's happened for too long is we've said nothing. No one says anything. It's not being taught in the schools. We have to teach this in our schools. When this journey is done, we will be making a documentary. What Marlon talked about was just a small part of the stories that we have heard. We've heard the rapes that went on, sodomy that went on with these young boys. As the young kids were sexually abused and they got to be older kids, they were turning around and abusing the young Indian kids in our school. Nobody wants to say that out loud, but that's what they told us. See it happen. So with this documentary, when it is done, probably 4 to 6 months from now, we're going to do a mass giveaway. We're going to make it so available to the whole world that this story cannot be kept a secret, and it'll be our story, not someone else's damn story. We can tell the story the best because we were there. That's what we want to see, to tell the story. So I want to thank everyone. You know, I get teary-eyed when I see the Mount Pleasant people, all that you did in their drum and how much sacrifice you made. Roberta from Sitka, Alaska, you know, come down here. I knew she was going to be here because she was saving her pennies along you know, the way, Laverne, and I could just go on and on. So we're in this together. When this journey is done, starting in August and September, we're going to be sweeping the country teaching grief, because we believe one of our biggest issues is unresolved grief. We don't know how to cry, we don't know how to process death. We don't know how to do that anymore. And so we are getting some guidance from elders and things to teach grief across the United States. This is only a beginning of healing. It isn't the end. It's to open up our awareness so that we start saying the unsayable. Because we have found this. Some of those elders never told anyone the story of what happened to them. Not their wives. They didn't tell their children. This was the first time they ever spoke out. And when they did, see, an individual is sick as in secrets. That's what I was told when I got into recovery. A tribe is sick as in secrets. A community is sick as in secrets. And a government is sick as in secrets. It's time we quit the secret stuff that we start telling. So what happens if the government does not deliver the apology? Then we're going to forgive anyway. Our healing is not dependent upon an apology, but only make it easier. But we know that we have what we need to do, if we will do it. So I want to thank you all for allowing us to share this little bit, and then we're turning back over to our brother. If you can keep it going. Thank you all very much.
Jimmy Witch, it's a labor of love that Elder Don does with the Wellbriety movement, and to go ahead and to have the sacred roof of eagle feathers and the condor feather in the center, and to see all of those communities offering their tobacco in a good way, and all of the prayers that are on this prayer blanket. It's an honor and a privilege to go ahead and to be a part of that circle. And today, right here at the Smithsonian Museum of the American Indian, you get a chance to be a part of that too. Not only with our open mic that we're going to have, at 1 o'clock. We're going to ask our boarding school survivors and those